Hello and welcome back. In this tutorial, we will learn about navigation in drawing area or work area. So the screen that you are seeing here currently that is highlighted, it is called drawing area or work area in Revit. All the models and plans that we draw in Revit will be described and defined inside this area. So in order to navigate this, we have two options in 2D plane. So if you are working on any of these floor plans or elevation plan, you will be inside in 2D area or 2D workspace. So in order to navigate in 2D workspace, we have two major options, that is zoom and pan around. So for this example purpose, I'm drawing a wall here. After drawing this wall, you can zoom in and zoom out with the middle mouse button while scrolling up and down. Now in order to zoom out to the extents, what you can do is you can double click on the zoom button. This will zoom out your area to the extent. Now if you are wondering what this border, rectangular border is defining here, it is called the visibility area of the level 0. Only level 0 will have such type visibility area. This will decide the visibility port of the 0 level. So if I drag it around here, you can see that all the parts that were out of this area are not visible currently. So this area will decide what are the visibility area of this 0 level. So I suggest you keep it to the up to the extent that is more than your this 4 points. So now these 4 points that are the elevation circles or elevation points. Now coming further, you can pan around with holding the middle mouse button like this into your drawing port. I'll draw a few more components so you can have a better understanding. Like this I can move around. Now if you see on this right top corner of this drawing port, we have two other options, that is 2D wheel and zooming options. So if I select the first one, that is zoom in region, I will be able to draw a window, and that window will be zoomed in my working area. The next option here we have is zoom out. This will zoom out 2x to the current zoom in scale. So if I click on this, this will be zoomed out x2. Next option here is zoom to fit. So when I click on this, this will zoom to fit. So this option will zoom out to the floor plan area extents. Next option here is zoom all to fit. It will work as same as this one, but just in case if I have a wall here, like say like this, but that won't be visible because it is outside our this floor plan area. So if I can drag it around here, and now if I choose this zoom all to fit like this, this will zoom out up to all the extents and components, but that wall that we drew outside this floor area won't be visible because it is not covered under this wall. So I'll delete this. The next option here we have is zoom to sheet size. So if you have set any of the sheet parameters, this will be zoomed to the sheet size. Currently the sheet parameter is 100, but as we tread further in this course, we will modify these parameters and have approximate and particular sizes for them. The last option here we have is previous pan and zoom. So if I click on this like this, this will be zoomed out to the previously zoomed in screen. It is very familiar concept to the AutoCAD. Above that we have this 2D wheel. Now when you click on 2D wheel, wheel will appear next to your cursor, and whenever you drag your cursor, this will come along with it. Now here we have three options, that is zoom. So if I click on zoom and drag my mouse downwards, it will zoom out from the point where I am holding the click. Now if I drag it outside or upwards, this will zoom in, and dragging downwards it will zoom out. Next option here is pan. So when I click on this pan option, I can pan around by holding it like this. The third option here it is rewind. So when I click on rewind, I can rewind to any of the previous zoom or navigation that I have chosen. So this is very smooth transition between the previous you can say navigation in my drawing area. So this is all about navigation in 2D workspace. Now if we go to the 3D workspace, you can easily go to the 3D workspace by clicking on this 3D view, by double clicking on this from project browser, or as I have enabled the shortcut in my quick access toolbar at this home icon. So when I click on this default 3D view, this will take me to the 3D view of my drawing. So you can see that I have this wall drawn in my 3D view. Now in order to navigate in this area, what you have is this view cube. So as I mentioned earlier, this is very similar concept to that of AutoCAD, where we also have a 3D cube like this. So you can drag it like this and move it around, or you can just select the front, or you can just select any of this and drag around and move around. Now another option here is that I can hold my middle mouse button and pan around, and while holding the middle mouse button and clicking it, if I press the shift key, I can orbit around in this drawing area. So like currently this is orbiting around from the center point of this drawing port. Suppose if I have more walls here like this, And if I'm just orbiting around like this is orbiting around from the center point of this drawing. If I select this wall and try to orbit around by pressing the shift key and middle mouse button, I'll be able to orbit around having that wall as a center point of this orbit. So like this, you can select different components or walls and orbit around by keeping them as a center point. Coming further, we also have similar options here, that is wheel and zoom. All the zooming options are similar to that of 3D, but if I enable this full navigation wheel in this 3D workspace, we have another options. Again, I would like to mention that this is completely similar to that of the concept of AutoCAD. Now, the first option here is zoom. So I can zoom in and zoom out by clicking anywhere on the screen like this. Another option here is rewind. So I can go back to any of this navigation as we went earlier and show it in the 2D workspace as well. Like selecting this orbit button, I can orbit around like this, selecting the center as a pivot point. Now if I click on the center, this will let me choose the center point of this like this. So this will be my center point. If I again select this and put my center point over here, this will be the center point of my drawing. So if whenever I orbit, this will be considered as a center point for this orbit like this. Now another option is walk here. So I can use this walk option once we have created a complete model set. As we tread further in this course, we'll go to that option. The next option here is look. So if I press this button, I can look around in the scene like this. So by clicking and holding this look option, I can look around over here. The next option here is up and down. So I can drag my position on this workspace like up and down by holding and clicking on this button. The last option here is pan. As we previously saw, this is how we can pan around by holding that button. So this was all about navigating in this 3D workspace and 2D workspace. Now let's understand about selection cycles in Revit. I'll delete these walls. Now I will draw a few more walls over here. Now as you can see, we have a few components on our screen. Now when I try to select any of this component, if I drag this as a window, you can see that selection window is continuous line. So all the components that are completely covered under this area will only be selected. If I select this wall and I drag it down to this wall, you can see that that wall is not selected. Because that wall is not selected completely under this boundary of this wall line, it is not selected. If I want to select this wall, all I have to do is I will to drag further and let this wall be completely inside this selection window. So on dragging left side to right side, only the parts of the components that are completely under the selection window will be selected. If I try to select from the right to left side, you can see that the selections window will be in a dashed format. So any part of the component that is being inside this will be selected. Even if this wall is not completely inside the selections window, you can see that it is highlighted and selected. Once it touches this component, it will be selected, similar to this wall or any of these walls. So these are the two methods that are also similar to the AutoCAD, and this is how it works in selection as in Revit. So this was all about basic navigation and selection in Revit. Thank you for watching.